All right, so we are here with five-time here in Las Vegas for Pacquiao Thurman weekend. Before we talk about the fight, let's talk about you. Let's talk about Heated Conversations, the podcast. You're doing a lot of good stuff. How did you come up with the name Heated Conversations, and what's been some of your favorite episodes so far?
Actually, Heated Conversations is we actually put out over Twitter to come up with that name, and one of the fans came up with Heated Conversation. But now we're Hall of Fame on ESPN, and my partner Brad came up with the name Hall of Fame because he was like, "Look, you're two-time Hall of Famer. Now, what about calling the show, Hall of Fame? And I was like, man, it's got a good ring to it, step inside the Hall of Fame, So it's just I leave a lot of the chores up to my young guys, I surround myself with a lot of young people, and I give them a chance to actually come up to my level, and I try to guide them, at the same time. And I've been successful. Got a lot of good young men and young women around me helping me out.
All right. So we are just on the heels. We had Extreme Rules last weekend. We were on the pre-show holding that down, and the pre-show matches that were on there. But it's a good time to be a black fan of wrestling, all the champions, New Day's champions. We got a lot going on over there. What do you think of the current evolution of black fighters holding the titles in WWE?
I mean, of course, Kofi Kingston crashed the glass ceiling, becoming WWE champion, first black WWE champion. That's awesome. The New Day, they just became, tag team champions again. Now, the brothers pretty much holding it down. We got a lot of young African American that do watch the show, and they do need someone that they can look up to and want to emulate. Someone that they can aspire to want to be like. And that's one thing that I tried to do when I was out there on a regular basis. Performing. I tried to make sure that I was cognizant of what was going on around me and who was watching me. And now we got some young guys out there doing it well as well. I look at the New Day who got that gimmick, and in the beginning, the people hated it, but they say, man, we're going to show you exactly what we're made out of, and they stuck it out, and, they made, lemonade out of, out of lemons, and I tell you, I look at Kofi Kingston, the guy who's been there for, actually on the roster for over 11 years, but been in the game for quite some time, longer than that, to stick it out. To stay the course, and then to catch magic in a bottle and become the WWE champion. I give that kid a whole lot of props, So, yeah, we got our representatives out there, and they're doing pretty well.
I was watching you and Mark Henry were having a little discourse recently about the top 3 African-American wrestlers of all time. For those who didn't tune into, remind them of who your selections were and who Mark's selections were.
Well, Mark, I don't remember who Mark's was. Yeah, his was all over the place. No, but it's so many black wrestlers that paved the way. And the thing is, we all got our Mount Rushmore, and my Mount Rushmore might be different than yours, and yours may be different than mine. So I don't blame Mark for that. I do blame Mark for putting me at number 7.
Right. What's up with that? At least number 5.
Exactly. But I do. I was a little ticked because Junkyard Dog wasn't in there on that list. And me honestly, I honestly think that Junkyard Dog was bigger than all of us. You know what I mean? I know Bo Brazil was a trailblazer in the sport. I know a lot of the other guys were trailblazers, but I don't think any of us, including The Rock, was bigger than the Junkyard Dog.
Right,
I think that guy should have been number 1.
When you look at the advances, the athletes have all kind of things to rehab and get themselves back in shape. What's an advance that wrestlers have now that you wish you would have had when you were your most active and most prone to injury?
Well, of course, these guys got a massage therapist with them on the road, a chiropractor on the road with them now. The doc is traveling with these guys on a regular basis, even though, I had that when I was coming up as well. But in this business, in the wrestling business, no one can really take care of you better than yourself. You got to have a calculated plan to actually walk away from professional wrestling because we're on the road, upward 300 days a year until the end of your career is over with. So you got to be able to, calculate those days, the house show days, the overseas tours, the pay-per-views, the regular TV shows, taking a good hot bath every night, it's very, very important, just soaking the old bones, So I've always tried to, think my way through the landfill because it truly is a war zone, and if you don't try to have a certain path, you can find yourself stepping on something, and boom, it could be all over with. So for me, 23 years active, I got a chance to walk away from the business, and I'm still standing straight up.
I was just doing the carpet the other day for Hobbs and Shaw, and I got a chance to chat a little bit with Roman Reigns, and we look at the top guys in the company. You've got Roman, you got Brock Lesnar, you got Kofi. And I noticed since Roman came back from his time off to treat his leukemia, he's not getting the same boos. People love to boo Roman. What does it take can you ever get the fans fully on your side, or is it good to have those boos when you're like the top face or the top guy in the company? Do you need those boos, or is there something you need to do to really fully pull the crowd in?
Sometimes, the fans these days are different, and I think a lot of it is due to the NWO. When the NWO came along, that anti, bad guy that the fans liked was something that was cool. And then social media came along as well. And now everybody want to have a voice and an opinion. Everybody want to choose a side. With Roman Reigns, in the beginning, people just did not want to get on Roman Reigns' bandwagon. Why? I'm not sure. Maybe it's because of the flash mob mentality. But watching Roman and knowing, the business and being a part of, the sport for so long, and watching a guy like Roman go out there and perform at such a very, very high level, and the fans boo him, and he's a good guy, it makes you think, and wonder, where are we with professional wrestling these days? Because I look at Roman and I say, that's the best guy that we have on the roster. Good guy, and if he was the bad guy, he would be the best bad guy heel that we had on the roster if he was to choose to go that route. So I just wonder what fans are really, really looking for these days.
Does the social media make the job harder because, you can't do the same kayfabe because everyone's friends, and when the clock is off, like any job, is it just a different job, or is it a harder job now?
I think it can be harder. Like I say, when you got the flash mob mentality, when you got fans that could take over an arena because they've been, coordinating on social media, and everybody buy a ticket, and everybody, push a button on their phone, and everybody do the same thing at the same time. It can make it a little bit harder, and I think that's where the fans are, perhaps losing, why they're really coming to the shows. The fans used to come to be entertained, and now sometimes the fans come to want to be the show.
Right. So we are here to switch back to why we're here at Thurman Pacquiao. It's a terrific fight, a 50-50 fight by a lot of odds makers. Do you have a prediction of the fight, or what do you want to see happen in the fight? I just want to see a great fight. But I think Manny, 8-division champion, he's done it all. He's been around the sport for a long time, and you got Keith Thurman, a guy who's young, hungry. I don't care what people think about his last performance or anything like that, but this guy is young. He's hungry. He is the now. He's the today of the sport. And for someone like Manny Pacquiao to knock Keith Thurman off, he's going to have to bring something to the table that I haven't seen Manny bring to his last four fights. He's going to have to bring something totally different to beat this guy. And I've been listening to a lot of the young guys. And a lot of the young guys lean towards Manny Pacquiao, but a lot of those young guys that lean towards Pacquiao, all of them, they got something in common. They don't have an undefeated record, and all those guys have never woken up at 40 years old, and they don't know what 40-year-old legs feel like. And no prediction for the fight. You're just going to watch and enjoy it like a fan, like the rest of them.
Thurman is going to. I feel like Thurman's going to win by decision, or it's going to be a late knockout. Manny Pacquiao is, a fighter that moves one way. He moves forward, and he's a guy that lunges. And as he's gotten older, he lunges a little bit more. And I think he can actually run into a punch and knock himself out.
And lastly, two last questions. If you could pick one heel and one face in WWE and swap them around, who's a face you'd make a heel and who's a heel you'd make a face?
I probably would make John Cena a heel.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I would think he'd be a pretty good one.
I think, John Cena, he's finally gotten to the end of his career, kind of like, Hulk Hogan at the end of his career, he turned heel. A lot of the guys think about it. Sting, he didn't get a chance to do it, but yeah, I think John Cena would be the perfect, babyface to turn heel, and perfect heel to turn babyface. Probably would be, I don't know, Bray Wyatt.
I knew you were going to say that. I was thinking the same thing.
Because the thing is, he's such a great heel. The fans really just want to get behind him. They want to cheer for him. So for him to be that, that baby face that just breaks all the rules, I think, we could use someone like that. He's the perfect candidate for that job.
So my neighbor is the biggest WWE fan in the world. So I'm gonna give you the mic. If you could just give a shout out to him. His name is Terrence. He calls himself Terrence the Champ. If you give a shout, he calls himself the Hood Ric Flair. He rolls around the hood with the jacket and everything. If you could give Terrence the Champ a shout out.
All right, what's up, Terrence the Champ? This is Booker T, 5-time WCW champ, 6-time World Heavyweight champ, 2-time WWE Hall of Famer. Just wanted to give you a big shout out, man. Keep doing your thing, man. Do it like it's supposed to be done. Make them bow down. Make them pay, my son. Make them say, Daddy, I don't want none. I had enough. Hey, champ, you're the champ. Keep doing it, brah.
Thank you.